to adopt a general bylaw in regard to the Chatham Municipal Airport. For a motion, Mr. Stahl.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move that the town vote to amend its bylaws as set forth in this Article 59.
Thank you, Mr. Stahl. Finance Committee recommendation, Mr. Pappalardo.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It is the understanding of the Finance Committee that both Town Council and Council for the Airport Commission have opined that the bylaw proposed under Article 59 is preempted by state and federal law and would likely be rejected by the Attorney General if passed by town meeting. Further, some members of the committee remember the days when DC-3s with their 95-foot wingspans, dwarfing the 53-foot wingspan of the Pilatus PC-12, and without incident routinely flew into and out of Chatham Airport. By a vote of 0 in favor and 6 against, the Finance Committee does not recommend the article.
Thank you, Mr. Pappalardo. Mr. Stahl, would you like to speak to the article in not more than 3 minutes?
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gerry Stahl of West Chatham. Neighbors, thank you for staying to vote for this article, which can make a big difference in preserving the quality of our community. I hope you will vote yes for it. The purpose of this bylaw is to prohibit the landing of turboprop and jet aircraft like the Pilatus charter planes at our town-owned airport. The Chatham Airport is only designed for the traditional smaller propeller planes. The physical infrastructure of our airport does not meet the safety standards for the larger planes, which the FAA calls Airplane Design Group 2. Due to the airport's location, surrounded by wetlands and residents, it is not possible to upgrade its infrastructure to meet the FAA safety requirements for these larger planes. Yet, the number of flight operations of these planes continues to increase. It has exceeded the FAA limit of 500 operations for each of the past 4 years. These charter planes should be using nearby Hyannis Airport, which is designed for them, with longer runways, appropriate infrastructure, and a control tower. We all go to Hyannis when we need a big box store or a large medical center. Why can't the big charter planes go there for their big airport? Big stores do not belong in Chatham, and neither does a regional charter hub. Who is watching out for the quality of life in Chatham? For these past 4 years, the FAA, the airport manager, the airport commission, the select board, and the town staff have taken no effective steps to address or even acknowledge the danger to the neighborhoods of West Chatham, South Chatham, and Great Hill. It is therefore now necessary for Chatham residents themselves to protect their community and adopt this citizens' petition. It is not our job as citizens to decide on subtle legality issues related to the bylaw, but to express our opinion on the kind of community we want. Lawyers for different parties may disagree on the bylaw's legality, but we are not voting on the law. We are voting on a growing problem in our community. There is no intention on our part to engage in expensive legal disputes. The legality of this bylaw, like all new bylaws, will be determined by the Massachusetts Attorney General, as we just heard. Claims that passing this bylaw will cause enormous legal expenses for the town, or ban emergency services, or require repaying FAA grants are false scare tactics. All language requiring the town to take legal action has been removed from the bylaw. In fact, however, banning charter flights will avoid the town and residents paying huge future increases and expenses. The Airport Commission plans already include many expensive services, facilities, infrastructure, flight approaches, and tree clearing for the
I'm gonna
benefit
ask
of
you to wrap
charter,
it up, please,
of
Mr.
charter
Stahl.
companies. This bylaw is a compromise solution to the long-ignored conflict between airport development and neighborhood development. It retains all the traditional uses of the airport and just bans the most disturbing large planes, which are not appropriate to the design
Thank you,
of
Mr.
Chatham's
Stahl.
airport. Please vote yes in favor of this bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you. There are 8 people there, 9, 10, and some select board members. I've got Mr. Uxton, Mr. Wilbur, and then the select board.
Am I
Unless there
next?
was a point of, bear with me.
Before you close debate, could we hear from town council on the matter?
Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to close debate anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm not saying when, just before. Thank you.
Sure. Mr. Uxton, would you allow Mr. Tollerman to speak? After you, all right? Very gracious. You're not in charge, but we'll do it that way anyway.
That's up to you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I would like to bring some facts that you may not be aware of. The airport does not belong to the Airport Commission, but it belongs to the town and to the taxpayers of the town. As the moderator said, what you say for the town goes. How you want to spend the money, this is what you can spend the money. So you own the airport. In opposition to Article, and I'm in favor of Article 59. In opposition to the Article 59, the chairman of the Airport Commission in a recent Chronicle article wrote, and these are important facts. This is what he wrote. It is important to understand that this bylaw, Article 59, is unlawful. It would violate FAA regulation. It is preempted by federal law. I do know that. And it would not be approved by MassDOT. And it would put the town in violation of the contractual grant assurances. Boy, that would scare any taxpayer. And another Airport Commission member even wrote, if Article 59 is approved, town will be required to defend the bylaw through a lengthy and expensive legal battle, yeah. And town could be required to repay $7 million in grant money and lose all future funding from FAA. Boy, the sky's going to fall down on us. Funny thing is, the chairman of the Airport Commission used these same threats last year when the Airport Commission, when they had an article called 40, which proposed increasing the width of the approaching air surface corridor. This was the Airport Commission's article, and they used the same threats then to say if the taxpayers did not vote for 40, okay, they used the same threats then on Article 40. And indeed, the taxpayers did not support Article 40. It voted down the Airport Commission's Article 40. And the Board of Selectmen were shocked, and the Finance Commission was shocked because they voted for it. Nothing happened. FAA said nothing. MassDOT said nothing. No grant money had to be repaid. Isn't that interesting? All these threats of grant money being repaid? No. Why? Because the state and the federal governments know that the airport belongs to the town.
Please begin to wrap
The
up.
taxpayers, I'm wrapping up, and the taxpayers have the right to manage the usage of their airport as they wish.
Thank you, Mr. Uxton.
Thank you, and I ask you to vote yes for Article 59.
Mr. Talman. The Select Board has requested that Mr. Tallerman speak to us.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Select Board. This is obviously a charged issue. I'm going to keep it to the very dry elements of Massachusetts law. Massachusetts is a home rule state, which means each town gets to develop their own bylaws and regulations. There are limits to that, however, and the limits essentially are when a bylaw starts to infringe upon the exclusive province of state law, then that bylaw will be deemed preempted and rejected by the Attorney General. It's not always clear on its face when that occurs, but if there is an intention by the legislature, this is the standard, when there is an intention by the legislature to essentially cover the field of all regulations, they will not allow a local community to create bylaws that regulate it in a way that is inconsistent with the state's jurisdiction. Airport operations are no stranger to local regulation and issues regarding preemption. The Attorney General has had opportunity, and the courts have had opportunity to review both on numerous occasions. I've been involved in some of those over the years with respect to the towns I represent. A city or town can, with impunity, say where you are going to locate aeronautical operations, whether that's helipads or an airport. You can do that. You can prohibit in the entirety where an airport can go or regulate that. Once an airport is established, however, as is the case here, the Attorney General has almost universally found that you can't regulate the operations of that airport. Airport operations, including the activities and the choices of how specific airplanes or helicopters operate at that. What will happen, so in my opinion, based upon my discussions with the Attorney General, based upon other instances where this has arisen in the past, this bylaw will likely be rejected by the municipal law unit of the Attorney General. If this town passes it, as it has the right to do here, it will get sent as a matter of law to the Attorney General's office. They will then send it directly to the Department of Transportation, and they will review it with their staff and give a recommendation back to the Attorney General. It's my opinion, based upon past experiences, that that will likely result in a striking of the bylaw in its entirety. I am not offering an opinion on the federal preemption issues or a preemption raised by the grants. That the Airport Commission's attorney has issued an opinion on that matter, and I think it speaks for itself. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Tallerman. If it is a point of order, please state it into the microphone.
I was here first, and I have a point of order.
The gentleman's saying a point of order, and we'll see if it is a point of order.
Go ahead.
Into the microphone.
Why didn't SAA...
That's not a point of order. That's a question. You've spoken.
Question.
No, sir. Mr. Wilbur.
Dave Wilbur, Stage Island Road. My point of information is, my point of information is, if this law passes, will the town be obligated to spend tax dollars with our town council in communicating with the FAA, with the Attorney General? How much is it going to cost us?
Maybe two questions. Anyone care to respond to Mr. Wilbur? Perhaps not. Dr. Thompson, and then this gentleman. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm Michael Thompson. Last year, 320 large, low-flying jet and turboprop planes roared into and out of West Chatham. Flying friendly is just talk. Chatham Airport is constrained with an inadequate runway and a hill on the flight path, so that noise cannot be reduced on either landing or taking off. Methinks the Airport Commission doth protest exceedingly over legal costs. These are imagined. If this article passes, it will be reviewed by the State Attorney General, as we just heard, at no cost to the town. There are indeed legal arguments that would allow the Attorney General to approve the bylaw. The FAA definitely has control of the airspace, but legal precedent gives the owner of the airport, namely the town, control of the ground. In addition, FAA Grant Assurance 22I states that we, the town, may prohibit or limit any given class of aeronautical use of the airport if such action is necessary for the safe operation of the airport as we define it, know about it, the FAA rules. Safe operation requires meeting FAA safety specifications. However, the airport cannot provide the mandatory runway safety areas for the large jet planes. Also, the clearance of the approach surface on Great Hill is only a few feet above the 12 houses under the flight path. This, incredibly, is 70 feet lower than was disclosed to the airport by the Airport Commission in documents submitted. Therefore, it would be very difficult for the FAA to argue against such a ban, especially as a ban would not affect traditional air operations at the airport. So, it is up to us to make large jet planes use the much safer Hyannis Airport. So ignore the legal naysayers and vote your disapproval of these large jet and turboprop planes, and support this article with a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. I did not acknowledge that Mr. Tallerman was willing to give a brief response to Mr. Welber's question, so I'll recognize him for that purpose, and then this gentleman.
In fact, if the Attorney General approves the bylaw and it is challenged and it becomes a bylaw of the town, it is possible that the town would incur legal expenses there. If the Attorney General doesn't approve the bylaw and that decision is challenged, then it is possible that incidentally the town will incur legal expenses there. The airport, the town has incurred a fair bit of legal expenses in and around challenges regarding the airport operations over the years.
Thank you, Mr. Tallerman. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. It's Mike Cortese. I feel if we pass this today, it will put the town in a very bad position to spend almost a bottomless pit of money to defend the indefensible. In my opinion, if we pass this, the airport will, if we pass number 57, the airport will be asked to, the town will be asked to, sorry, I'm going to back up for a second. It's been a long day for all of us. If we pass this, the airport asked for $57,000 in Article 26. That will be a drop in the bucket compared to what I believe we will have to spend to defend this. I urge you to vote no, and let's explore other options to handle the request of the townspeople. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cortese. Mr. Eldridge, then Mr. Fulton. Mr. Eldridge.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Leo Eldridge. I've got about 40 years of experience in aviation, military pilot, airline transport pilot rating, and about 30 of those years I've been working with and for the FAA. And on the surface, I sympathize with the concerns about the big airplanes flying into this airport. but I do not believe that passing this bylaw is going to be an appropriate way to handle it, because I think it will fail, for sure. First off, the argument is to ban a particular design group of airplane. And then typically the FAA will not approve that, if you're looking at the regulations, as I have done. With the exception, as the previous speakers pointed out, unless it can be shown that the operation of those aircraft will detrimentally affect the safety of all aircraft operating at CQX. So then the proof becomes, how do you prove that there's a safety impact by operating those airplanes? It's not because the runways aren't designed to the design group 2 specifications. The FAA makes those decisions based on data-driven decisions. If you look at the National Transportation Safety Board records, the design group 2 airplanes going all the way back to the DC-3s have a flawless safety record at Chatham. That's the kind of information they're going to look for. They make data-driven decisions. So in my mind, it's a virtual certainty that this will not be approved. And if it is, it will violate the grant assurances. And you've seen the articles in the paper. About $7 million were collected so far, and with only a 5% contribution to get those kind of funds. So the grant assurances, if those regulations are violated, which I believe this will, those will be most likely withdrawn. And legally, the FAA has in the past clawed back some of the funds that they provided if the airport sponsors violate the grant assurances. Now, will they do it? We don't know, but they have the legal authority to do it, and they've done it many times in the past. So I think the better way to handle this is to work together. We could establish discussions between the proponents of this bylaw and the state and federal regulators. The airport's office of the FAA and the Flight Standards Service are the only 2 entities that can authorize an exemption to ban one particular design group of aircraft. Maybe that's possible, maybe it isn't, but if that doesn't work, let's think about voluntary compliance with the noise abatement or a fee structure to dissuade those operators from using the airport as much as they have in the past. So I urge you to vote no on this article, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Eldridge. Mr. Fulton, and then even though there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people who would like to speak, I wonder if a motion for the previous question might be in order. But Mr. Fulton, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is James Fulton. I wrote this bylaw, and I'm happy to offer my legal services on a pro hac vice basis for free to the town to defend it.
Yeah.
You know, the Attorney General is a pretty good lawyer, so why don't we let her decide whether this is lawful or unlawful? I'm sure she's going to be supplied with plenty of legal memorandum after this, if this indeed passes. So I encourage you to pass it. You know, if these Design Group 2 planes require a 3,200-foot long runway according to FAA design standards, and if one of them overshoots into Meserve's shell station, the results would be horrific. So this is not a noise control measure, nor is it required to be. One last thing. One of the charters that frequently lands, I have a friend who said, I like these large airplanes. They bring my family to Chatham. Well, one of the ones that lands here frequently is the Cessna 414, which is a Design Group 1 plane, perfectly safe, meets the design standards. It carries 8 passengers. So unless your family consists of 9 people, which is what the PC-12 carries, you shouldn't worry about this measure passing at all. There are plenty of charters that can bring your family to charter that meet the design standards.
Thank you, Mr. Fulton. I'm going to recognize Mr. Dykens. Under the rules of protocol, saying I move the question doesn't quite do it until I recognize you. However, if I recognize you as I just did, Mr. Dykens has moved the previous question, which is motion to cut off debate. To my left, Ms. Shields, to my right, the lady over there, and the 5 people in front of me behind Ms. Wilson all want to speak. So if you'd like to hear more, you will vote no on the previous question. But the question before you now is to cut off debate. Those in favor of the motion previous question say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. Voted by more than the requisite 2/3 majority. It is my sense that there will be, that we should take this vote by electronic device. The motion before you under Article 59 is as offered by Mr. Stahl, that the town adopt a bylaw as set forth in this article in the warrant. If you're in favor of the motion as offered by Mr. Stahl, you will vote yes. If you're opposed, you will vote no. Is there anyone in the auditorium who has not voted?
We have 2 that we need to check.
One, I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you because we have some people who remarkably enough want to leave.
We have 2 that we need to check.
Okay, thank you. We'll wait for those. And how about here in the gymnasium? Anyone who has not voted?
We have now completed in the auditorium.
Count has been completed. Vote will be closed. Please display the tally. What? $192 in favor, 166 opposed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your extraordinary dedication, patience, and perseverance. I would accept a motion that we adjourn. Everybody moved it. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. So voted. Thank you all very much.